This is a photo of me from last December where I'm weighing about 82 kilos and you can see that I've got a decent amount of body fat on me. I decided that I put on a little bit too much body fat, so I've been on a diet since then, and this is a photo that I took this morning at 75 kg. Now I've lost 7 kilos, which I'm definitely happy with, but there is one small problem. I'm going to Marbella in 4 weeks and I want to look as shredded as possible for then, and right now this just isn't going to cut it. This is kind of a recurring pattern for me, is that I start off diets pretty well and I lose that first bit of weight, but when it comes to that last stubborn bit of fat, I never really have the tenacity to push through and be a bit hungrier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get as lean as possible in 30 days and show you how you can do it as well. So the first step of the process is going to be to find out what our starting numbers are in terms of body fat percentage, weight, progress photos, all of that good stuff. So let's get on with that. So I took some measurements on one of these machines in my gym. It gave me 75 kilos and 12% body fat, which I think is a little bit low, but we'll stick to that for now and see what it says in a month's time. What I've got to the side of me is the calculation that I did to figure out my macros and my calories for the 4-week cut to ensure that I actually lose weight and stay in a calorie deficit, okay? So at the top, I'm calculating my basal metabolic rate. By the way, you don't actually have to do all of this maths if you don't want to. You can just use a calorie calculator, but this is actually what the calorie calculator is going to do in order to spit out the number that it's going to give you, okay? So the basal metabolic rate is calculated as 10 times your weight in kilograms plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters minus 5 multiplied by your age plus 5, okay? That spits out 1,762 calories for me, which basically means that's how many calories I'll burn if I just sit in bed and do nothing all day, okay? Obviously, I don't do that, so what I'm going to have to do is multiply it by an activity level. And this is where people often get it wrong when they're selecting on the calorie calculator. They put that they're highly active when actually they're not. I've used 1.55 times multiplier, which basically means I'm moderately active. And again, this might be underkill because I'm going to be doing 6 weight sessions a week plus 5 cardio sessions, but I'd rather go underkill on this one to ensure that I stay in a deficit, okay? So once I multiply my basal metabolic rate by my activity level, it's going to give me 2,732 calories for my maintenance, okay? So theoretically, this is going to be how many calories I need to consume to stay the exact same weight. Obviously, I don't want to stay the same weight, I want to lose weight. So I'm going to chop 700 off of that number, okay? Now that is quite big. I normally wouldn't advise going that much of a jump. Maybe stay within 300 to 500. But because I'm doing quite an aggressive cut and I've already been losing fat for quite a while, I can justify dropping the calories quite a bit, okay? So I'm gonna be eating 2,000 calories per day. Now, as long as I stick to that 2,000 calories per day, I definitely will lose weight, but what those calories are made up of is gonna determine whether I lose a lot of fat or whether I lose a lot of muscle, okay? The first most important thing is gonna be making sure that I get my protein in, and the general rule of a gram per pound of body weight is gonna work here. I'm about 165 pounds, that's what 75 kilos is in pounds. So that's gonna be 165 grams of protein per day. Protein's got 4 calories per gram, so that's gonna be 640 calories of protein. Then with fat, again, fat is quite important because it controls your hormone production, particularly your testosterone. So we don't wanna crash our fat all the way into the ground. So again, around a gram per kilo is what you want for your fat. So that's 75 grams for me, which is 585 calories. And then from here, I can just add to the 640 from my protein, the 585 from my fat, take that off of my 2,000 calories daily, and then what I'm left with is 775 calories of carbs, and that comes out to 194 grams, okay? So this bit over here is my full breakdown of my numbers, and like I say, that's how I did it. You don't have to do it the long way. But 2,000 calories, 165 grams of protein, 75 grams of fat, and 194 grams of carbs. And I mean, to be honest, the fat and the carb split isn't really that important. Like I said, you want to make sure you get some fats in, but if you was to have, 250 grams of carbs and less fat, it doesn't really matter, okay? The most important thing is stay in the deficit, get your protein, lift weights. That's what's going to allow me to get super shredded. Somebody's going to have to stop me with the whiteboards because I'm getting a bit carried away with my markers, but I've also laid out all of the exercises I'm going to be doing, okay? So for the weightlifting, everything's going to be staying the same as what I'd usually do, whether I'm maintaining, bulking or cutting, nothing really changes. We're going to be doing a push-pull legs, we're going to be doing that 6 times a week, and then we've got an A set of exercises and a B set of exercises, just so I manage to hit every single muscle across all 6 days, okay? Like I said, nothing's really going to change apart from the fact that I'll probably up the weights and lower the reps because I'm not trying to do loads of volume and exhaust myself in the gym because I've only got 2,000 calories and I'm trying to make the most of them, so I'm not trying to spend 1.5, 2 hours in the gym, okay? The other thing that's going to get added in that's going to be quite a big jump up from what I usually do is going to be the cardio over here, okay? So I'm aiming for 5 sessions per week. Out of those, I'm going to do 30 minutes on the air bike on a Monday, 30 minutes on the elliptical on a Wednesday, and then I'm going to do 2 runs on a Tuesday and a Friday, and then I've saved on Sunday like tennis, football, some kind of fun types of cardio, if such a thing exists. And the reason I'm doing this is because, like I said, I did factor into my calculations that I'm going to be quite active, and I might have undershot that, but I'm certainly going to try and make sure that I'm getting enough movement in, because I don't really do that much cardio normally. I did a half marathon in March, and I've done one run since. So if I can get 2 weekly runs in, that's just a goal I want to get anyway, and if it helps get the calorie burn up, then that's fine by me. And the only other thing I'm going to be considering is I'm going to try and get 12k steps per day, and I'm not going to be like super pedantic and worry about if I go on a run then I need to do more or anything like that. As long as my watch says 12k per day, then I'm going to be happy, just again to make sure that I'm doing a little bit more than I usually would, because I normally average around 7 or 8k. So I'm just trying to make sure that calorie burn goes up, I'm expending more energy as I limit my calories, and hopefully that's what's going to lead to you guys in 4 weeks' time looking at a six-pack in Marbella. So that's the plan. That's how I'm laying out the training. I'm going to go to the gym now and I'm going to show you what one of my sessions is going to look like. First movement we're going to be doing then is a Romanian deadlift. And I always go heavy on these, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely going to be going heavy now, because the priority is to just work the muscle and get out of the gym, not spend too much time there, because I'm not trying to get a calorie burn here. I think that's a quite common myth, that when people go on a cut, they think that they should make their gym sessions longer and add volume in order to burn more calories, but actually the opposite's true. You don't want to get your calorie burn from your workouts. That's not why you're there. You're trying to stimulate the muscle to tell your body to keep as much muscle as possible, and that's the only job of your weightlifting sessions. I'm getting my cardio from my steps, as I explained earlier, and my cardio sessions, so I don't need to be spending too long in the gym. If anything, I want to be in and out. So that's going to mean using heavier loads, lower reps, as you can see me doing here. If anything, I probably could have gone heavier and lower reps, because I'm still doing like 10 reps here, which is actually quite high. But yeah, the general rule is going to be to go a little bit lower on the volume as opposed to going higher on the volume. Also as well, if I'm doing 6 weightlifting sessions and 5 cardio sessions, the risk of injury is definitely there. So the more volume I do, the more fatigue I put into the muscles, the higher the chance of injury is. So using heavier weights is actually going to be the safer way, as long as of course you do it with the correct form. Same trend here then with a lying hamstring curl. Normally I would go higher reps on this. I'd kind of structure it so that the Romanian deadlift is the heavy one, I do low reps, and then I really burn off on the hamstrings. But again, I'm staying within that 6 to 8 rep range here and really just focusing on getting that squeeze. Still going all the way to failure, of course. I mean, you can see here it's moving nicely, and then all of a sudden it just completely stops. But like I said, this is regardless of the exercise, we're going to be going heavy. I'm never going to be doing more than 10 reps in any of my sessions really, even with isolation exercises on some of the smaller muscles like the side delts, rear delts, even biceps. I'm going to be sticking to under 10 reps for pretty much everything, just so I can be in and out. Low volume is going to be the way forward for the cut, okay? We've got leg extensions next, and normally I would do these after my heavy leg press, but recently I've much been preferring doing them before. And the reason is this almost serves as like a warm-up for the quads, and it gets it to the point where I've really got that mind-muscle connection, because if you've ever done a leg extension, then you'll know that you really feel your quads. There's no hiding from it at all. So by doing these first, I really kind of get that mind-muscle connection going, get my quads engaged, so that when I then move on to my heavy leg movement, whether it's a squat or a leg press or a hack squat, as you're going to see later, then I've already got that mind-muscle connection going, and I'm going to feel my quads a lot more than my glutes. So I've really been enjoying that recently. Still, as I said before, heavy weight, doing about 100 kilos here, still going to failure. And yeah, last exercise is going to be a hack squat. Hack squats in general are brutal, but this one is really, really tough. I think it was a Nautilus hack squat, and you can see I'm making it even worse by using that little pad on my feet to make it so that I can get even deeper in, because the tension on this one at the bottom is the highest, which is where we want it, because that's when the muscle's going to be in the most stretched position. So just try to make sure you're doing what I'm doing here, and you're trying to control it at the bottom rather than just cannonballing into it and firing up. You really want to control that weight so that you feel that stretch and it really hammers your quads. So you can see here it's pretty brutal. I'm making some pretty ugly faces, but that's a sign that I'm doing it right. I did plan on doing 3 sets of this, but after the second set I was so fatigued and it was hurting so much that I thought, this is going to be all for today. Maybe that was me being weak, maybe that was me being sensible, I'm not sure. You always bargain with yourself, don't you, when you train on your own, so I don't know, maybe I was being a bit of a wimp, but by the end of this I was limping out of the gym, so I think I did more than enough. Leg day is complete, as you'll have just seen. Time for a quick little physique check. Yeah, not good enough, not good enough yet. It's only day 1 though, so it's not going to be good enough. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go for a run. Okay, so slightly controversial going for a run after leg day, but my legs feel okay. I'm going to try and take it nice and easy. I'm kind of contradicting myself already because it does say on a Wednesday that I go on the elliptical, but It was really busy in the gym. I'd spent too long there. I wanted to go. Now I'm feeling better. So I'm going to go on a little, I don't know, 30 minutes. Maybe I'll do like a bit more than a 5K, but I'm going to take it nice and slowly and not go too crazy because I've done it before. I've gone too hard on the run and the legs are feeling very sore the next day. So nice little run. And I'm not going to carry this big old camera around with me, so you'll probably see me when I get back. As you might be able to tell, just got back from a run. If you think I've gone and splashed water on my face or anything, I'll post the Strava up, just in case you were doubting. I think it was a little bit longer than 35 minutes in the... See, I can't even speak properly. I think it was a little bit longer than 30 minutes in the end, something like 35. I went out with the intention of just doing an easy jog, but ended up doing a pretty decent little, about 5K. So yeah, feeling good. Still going to get some steps in though, so I'll probably go on another walk later. But until then, I'm going to get some food down me, I think. In terms of the food that I'm eating today, I did record footage of it, but the audio got corrupted. So I'm going to show you on screen now what I've eaten so far and how I'm getting those 2,000 calories. But essentially in the morning, I had some porridge with some skyr, and that came out, I think, at around 80 grams of protein. Then lunch was steak and a bagel, and again, it was a similar amount of protein, okay? So I did have a whole commentary talking about it and telling you all about my meal, but that all got corrupted, so I look like an idiot now. But I am about to go and have dinner, and I'm going to try and really not corrupt the audio on this one. It's already a pre-made dinner that I've had a couple of times this week anyway, but I'll talk you through it when I get downstairs. Okay, last meal of the day, we've got a chicken fajita bowl prepared by yours truly. Hopefully you can actually hear me now. If not, I'm just going to upload it anyway. But this is about, what, 600 calories?
I'd say so.
And takes me up well above and beyond my protein target. I think I get into the 200s with this, which is probably overkill. But again, probably better for me than carbs and fats. So I'm going to get this down, go on a walk, make sure I get my steps in, and that's going to be the day. Well, I've just got back from my evening walk, finishing the day on 14,000 steps, so well above the 12K target that I set myself. And that's about what every day is going to look like for me, really. Lifting weights, doing some kind of cardio, getting the steps in, not eating a lot of food. It is pretty unenjoyable. I am quite hungry, but I'm willing to stick to it to see how much fat I can lose in the next month. So the next you see from me will probably be in a week's time, see how much progress I've made, do a little check-in, and then carry on going on the cut. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week.